Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Carla if you are new here, and I make videos about showing up for yourself. And as some of you probably know, that I used an amazing program called BodySlims, which is what helped me to lose 183 pounds or 13 stone. And today I am joined by the genius and the brains behind that program, Gerard Moran. So Gerard, would you like to give yourself a little introduction?
Yeah, well, after that, I think I'd actually be very happy to settle for that. The genius, I don't think there's a great deal of genius, more perspiration than inspiration, I would have to say. Yeah, wonderful to be here. Wonderful to see this lady. You know, people often ask me, why did I do this? And really, it's people like yourself who are the reason that I actually did this. And you know that I always talk about finishing out this journey. And based on what I saw in my own life, you know, the fundamental change that's really possible to give people the life they really want to have is phenomenal. So, yeah, all the talent is here.
Thanks very much. And as probably most of you know, now I am a brand ambassador for BodySlims, and so anytime I chat about it, I just want to let you guys know that I am a brand ambassador, but they did not ask me to make this video. I am making it off my own back. And I asked you guys on Instagram and on YouTube if you had any questions about BodySlims or any questions that you wanted to pose to myself and Gerard. And my gosh, did you guys have some questions?
We've a lot of uncertainty, have we?
Yes, there is a lot of questions. So I'm not going to get through all of them because we would be here for probably till the start of BodySlims. So actually, just to let you guys know that the next round of BodySlims starts on the 18th of January and it will sell out prior to that. I'll leave a link down in the description box down below if you would like to check out more information about it. I'm going to get into the questions.
Okay.
And see how we go. So one of the first questions I think was a really good one, and is, what is the hardest part people find with BodySlims?
That would actually be different for different people. I suppose for some people, obviously, we encourage walking as a form of exercise. Some people will come in, they're walking anyway. So walking for them is just not a big deal. For other people, they haven't walked in 20 years. They may say that. I think one of the biggest things is actually the fears and the limiting beliefs, and trying to actually get people to break through what they believe. Nothing will ever be as bad or as hard as they think it will be once they get started, and it's that initial fear which can often derail people. But I guess the walking, sometimes people get really worried about the calories they're going to be on, and they'll kind of, oh my God, die of starvation. And of course, once they get into the rhythm of it, it's amazing what we're all capable of.
Yeah, as somebody who went from being a food addict then to obviously reducing my calories for BodySlims quite a lot, what I noticed was after the first seminar, I wanted to do it. I was so motivated to do it and I started to eat from a better food source, so I had less stress around, I basically was able to eat more for less calories, or not more than I was eating before, but I was able to eat a good amount for less calories because I was eating from a better food source. So that really helped me. So there's a lot of questions to do with walking and other forms of exercise. So I think I might kind of put those into one category together. So somebody asked, can I do weights and running while on this program? I love both and do both already.
Yeah. No. Is the honest answer. It's not that you can't, it's more that you shouldn't. When I designed BodySlims, I designed it specifically to work with the walking, and the calories match our exercise. One of the contentions I have is, for many, many years, high-end sports scientists develop workouts for teams and new ways of working out. And thankfully, I know a lot of these people, and I know what they're doing. They're quite often horrified at what happens to their work. So when they're designing it maybe for a rugby scrum. For guys, when they go down, they've given all their energy. They have to be able to get up and run to the next breakdown. Now, that workout that they designed to do that is not designed for weight loss. And they have dietitians. It's called Feed Them and Train Them. And when you start doing high intensity workout, the simple fact is your body fuels from different sources, and we're always trying to work from body fat. Body fat is a very slow burning fuel, so when we stay in low impact, the body is comfortable to burn from the low impact body fat it all works together. The moment you change the intensity, you don't have to do anything. Your body will automatically do it for you. So in other words, if you go from walking to running even, your body will immediately go, we cannot supply the body with enough energy from the body fat, and we change immediately to our glycogen, glucose supplies in our muscles. The problem with that is once we deplete that, it's not a choice. We have to replace it. And when you go to replace that, this is where people get a lot of cravings. And it can be very, very serious. As in, if you're overtraining and underfeeding, people can hit really terrible kind of valleys in terms of how they're feeling. They suddenly slump down. What I always say to people is, do it for the 10 weeks, do it right. And remember, the people who probably design the workouts, the weights or whatever it is, and weights are a great thing, but they're different to weight loss. They're a great thing, and again, this is part of this thing. As I say, these people are horrified when they go, why would you be doing that? But the diets that are designed to match these weightlifting programs are entirely different. They're far higher in protein and they're far higher in calories. So make it easy for yourself for 10 weeks. Deal with one problem and start to separate them out and go, you know, when I'm of an age that when I started training in gyms as a young fella, nobody ever talked about it as a weight loss. Nobody ever talked about training in any way, shape or form as to be anything to do with weight loss. Now, unfortunately, they get convoluted a lot of the time. So for the person who does it, it's brilliant. You go back to it after the 10 weeks. And if you want to make the program as effective as possible, then you should stick to the formula we have.
And it's like one of the previous people said, it's actually easier to do BodySlims 100% than to pick and choose the way you want to do it. Again, on the same vein with the walking and the exercise, can you do the walk, the 1 hour walk that's prescribed by BodySlims, can you do it in 2 half hours?
No is the answer, if you can. So this, once again, we get into this sort of grey area of medical conditions. So if somebody comes along to me and they go, you know, I have a medical condition, we're never going to contradict a physio, a doctor, a GP, a specialist, of course not. But for the vast majority of people, you are able to walk. Now, if somebody goes, I haven't walked for 20 years, I'm going out, the most I can do is 20 minutes. Grand. If you get 21 tomorrow. And 22 the day after. BodySlims is all about building up on the day. And if we do that each day, it's amazing. Within a short period of time, everybody's at the hour. The reason for that is it takes your body about approximately 15 minutes to enter what we call the fat burning zone, which is where you want to be. So when you're walking, if you stop after half an hour, you will have wasted the opportunity for the body to burn body fat. Now, if you're doing the 2 half hours, you're never going to get the same effect as you will get from doing that 1 hour. You do your 15 minutes and by then you would hopefully have entered the fat burning zone. Then you get 45 minutes where you're burning calories from the right place, where people want to lose weight from. So that's why, what I always say is if you can, you must. And there's a huge difference between being able to and not being able to. Because part of it is in the head, oh, I wouldn't be able, it's rain. And you can't make it weather permitting or anything like that. You know, I always say, just get the right clothes. But yeah, it's definitely best not done as 2 half hours. If it's the best somebody can do, that's a totally different thing. Physically, or, you know, they're going, I have kids, I can only find that time. I can only ever ask somebody to do their best, but I'll always give you the perfect way to do it. But we're people, we're not perfect, you know, so nobody is going to, it's the rarest of people, yourself being one of the exceptions, who will do BodySlims, what I call perfectly, where you sort of go, how much did they, what way did they do it? You go, they never missed a beat. They would have got 100 out of 100. You said you were very motivated there after the first, that's the purpose of the first seminars, to try to get people to a state where not only they know they can, but they will if they do this. And then you obviously had the pain, which would have pushed you to kind of go, God, this would make a really, really, so there was high level of motivation there within yourself, you know, your own drive. So But if people get to 100%, the bizarre thing is, and again, this is counterintuitive, you mentioned it, and it was, if you're, people have this idea that if you go to 100%, it'll be much harder. But if you go to 100%, it'll actually be easier, because the biggest thing is mental. You resign from that debating society. Will I have a biscuit? Will I have 2 biscuits? Will I do this? Will I do the walk today? Will I do it later? Is there a... People get into these debates with themselves and they always lose. You know, if you're having that debate, you're always going to lose. When you make it just black and white and you go, no, I can't. I cannot break this. I have to do it at 100%. Within a couple of days, the body adjusts, the mind adjusts. And pretty soon, I never say it's easy, but it kind of becomes simple. Yeah. And you start going, this isn't actually that bad. You know, I can actually do it. It's easier, as you said, to do it 100% than 90. And the weird thing is, we all think, but if I give a half-assed effort, it'll be easier for me. Yeah. And you go, actually, the opposite is true. Yeah. It's a great example. If you give up smoking on the Monday and you stay off, I'm sure you go through hell. People will say they're going mad. Their whole heads are taken over. By the Friday, they're feeling a bit better. Now, if they start smoking that weekend again, and they give it the following Monday, they go right back to the same place. However, if they go through that the second Monday, I'm not saying it'll be perfect, but it's so much better than the first if they stay off it. So it's all about giving 100%. If you can do that, not only do you not have, will you not have to worry in this area, you won't have to worry in any area.
Question was, how much do you both walk each week?
Mine is absolutely irregular. It was always an hour a day, and I used to be able to walk very quickly, and I used to absolutely love being able to do that. In the last, it's nearly a couple of years now, I'm only one step away from the knee replacement, which has nothing to do with the walking, incidentally. It's to do with old football injuries. 8 or 9 knee operations now. So certain days I'm grand, I can get out, I can do it not anywhere near as fast as I used to, and the rest of the time I have to use a static bike. But it would never be, for me, the static bike is no pleasure. The walk I love. Yeah. The static bike is purgatory. I mean, absolute. But I am very clear in all this. If I want to walk, I know what I'm doing on that bike is allowing me, each time I get on the bike, I go, this will give me another walk. Yeah. And I've always said, liking it is optional.
That's very true.
People get into it and they let it happen. Suddenly you have a fitness regime that you actually love. Yeah. That becomes part of your lifestyle. You can do it anywhere you go in the world. It's easy, it's inexpensive, and that's always the purpose of it. Create the habit. Yeah. Then the habit will create you.
And that's the same for me. Like, I absolutely despised walking prior to starting BodySlims, hated it in every element of my being, couldn't stand it. And then after, probably I think it took the 9 weeks for me to kind of go, okay, no, I really like this. And I get it. I understand now why I like it. And it was the fact that I was able to do that first 10K challenge that's at the end of BodySlims. When I was actually halfway doing it, I was like, oh, I'm doing this now. I'm getting there now. And that's when it all kind of changed for me. So I walk still 1 hour every single day, and I still love it and I need it. It's, as they always say, it's my walk now. It's not the BodySlims walk or I have to walk. It's like, no, I'm going out for my walk now. So still every day, 1 hour. This is a good one. When do you know, when do you know how to stop doing BodySlims and try to do it alone after you've lost? I think this person is in maintenance, so.
I think that's a very good question, and I don't think there's a simple answer. I think the answer is going to be different for different people. It depends how you're wired, really, and maybe it depends how long you were away from being the right weight or size. But I don't think there's actually an answer to that. Like, we would say to people, you're welcome to come back, but we don't tell people you have to come back. You do the 10 weeks and you learn a process. But you know what? A lot of people prefer to have the group. They prefer to have something which is a framework for them I'd have a fairly sort of structured mind. So I'd be very sort of black and white about what I would be doing. But I know not everybody is kind of like that. So it's actually an answer I can't give, unfortunately. It's really up to people, but people can always try on their own. And, you know, if they're not sure, try it on their own, see how it goes. And, you know, we're not going anywhere. So if they ever need to come back, BodySlims has always been work that you come in the 10 weeks, we give you everything, we tell you everything to do, you get all the information, there's no extras. And as you know, at the end, I'll give the maintenance program. And it works. How do we know it works? Because many people come, they do 10 weeks, they thank you, they go off. You meet them 2 years later, they're still flying it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean everybody can do that. You know, it's a bit like you go to a gym. They show you what to do, really. But you can do nearly all the weights yourself with your own body. But for a lot of people, they go, oh, I find it very hard to do it. Yeah, I need to have something. So I'm sorry. There's no straightforward answer to that one. No simple answer.
Okay, let's move on to a bit more, some other types of questions. We've done a lot on the walking and the exercise. I'm new to you and BodySlims. Can I have a drink on the plan?
Yes and no. Let me explain. We work in calorie deficit. Now, in theory, you know, you can have alcohol, but once it's built into your calorie allowance for the day. The problem is alcohol is very high in calories, and if you're sort of leaving that to have a couple of glasses of wine, you're probably not going to be getting enough nutrition in that day to be doing BodySlims right. Alcohol inhibits fat loss. It's a fact. Alcohol's a poison. People don't always want to take that on board. It's a poison. So when your body takes it, we talked earlier about the fat burning zone when I was talking about the walking. The moment you come out of, the moment you drink alcohol, your body will come out of the fat burning zone. The reason for that is your body identifies it as a poison. It's called all hands on deck. So your body will immediately stop whatever it was doing to break down the alcohol that's going into your body. Some people do BodySlims and they have a drink. Other people, this again, like, what's a drink? Can I have a drink? Is it one drink once during the program, or are we talking about a half bottle of wine every night? Like, they're very different things. And you know, let's be honest, in Ireland, when somebody says having a drink, I mean, I've often said this about lads, they'll go out, unless the fella's drinking 10 pints, nobody's really, if somebody's sitting down having 6 pints, nobody's going to bat an eyelid. But that would be more than that person's daily calorie allowance. You know, so it's not huge. So I would always advise against, but it's not, you know, you're not told you can't. Some people do it in moderation and they're successful. But again, I'd always recommend, it's only a short period of time. And you can always see the end coming. Your liver will thank you for it.
And in my personal opinion, it's not worth it. It's not worth the having a drink to, you know, to counteract any of the benefits that you're getting in the rest of your life. And I used to drink an awful lot, and when I go out and when I've gone out on BodySlims during the program, I think in the first round I went to a wedding and had like a glass of wine, you know, and I was like, what am I getting from this? You know, what is the point? I'd actually rather have the food than have the glass of wine. So it's just kind of, to me, it's not worth it. And actually, something that I realized when, you know, over the last couple of years is that I was using food to cope with the feelings internally and what was going on inside me, but I used alcohol to deal with the external. So I used alcohol to deal with my lack of confidence in social situations, or my lack of, you know, my negative self-talk in social situations and how I thought other people viewed me. So for me, it was a food was the internal one and alcohol was the external one. And now, like, I can go and I will have, like, for my birthday, had a cocktail and enjoyed the singular cocktail, but what didn't feel the need to have 10 cocktails. And somebody actually asked, I don't see here, but they asked, would you ever do the pier walks again?
Well, not at this point in time, and the reason for that is because we're all online, it's not really fair. So we have, you know, to kind of go, I'm going to pick an area which is convenient for me and for everybody else who's doing BodySlims, well, tough. So that was the decision that we made. Whether it's right or wrong, I don't really know. But that was our thinking. That, you know, because we were doing online, we said, how about we just concentrate that? It's even. What we're giving to everybody is the same, and that's what we've tried to work to, Carla. So not in the short term.
And that means that nobody will get to experience Gerard with a super soaker. So that was
very
upset.
That was when I used to shoot the water pistol at them. I did terrible things to them on that one.
So it's more expensive than other slimming clubs. What more does it offer?
Well,
it works. That's the first one.
Yeah, I think it's very, very different. If I'm honest, look, I don't know really too much about various different slimming clubs, and there's lots of different ones, and I don't know. So I mean, it's hard for me to comment on what other people do exactly. I know what we do is a strategic intervention in somebody's life, which will be, by the end of it, it's always dangerous saying this now because people will kind of go, well, it's something akin to a spiritual awakening. Nothing to do with religion. Spirit, by spirit I mean you, the younger you that was going to make a difference. It's about bringing that back. It's about trying to empower people. But do it in a structured format. Everybody wants it. If you say to anyone, do you want to be fit, do you want to be in shape, do you want to be healthy, do you want to be well, everyone will say yes, but very few people actually have it. So wanting it isn't enough, you need a strategy. BodySlims provides a strategy. It's very scientific at this stage. It's all done on interactions. I long ago realised food wasn't a problem for you guys. Drink isn't the problem if it's on a supermarket shelf. If I drink, it becomes a problem for me. People who overeat, it's not the food, it's the taking of it, and that's your personal power. So how do we deal with that personal power, and what is it that used to go wrong for people when they were trying to do other stuff? It's all about behavioural patterns on the day, and I often say this, slip in your mind. So BodySlims is all built around trying to keep it, you know, you're the conscious part of your mind, so you can be there this time of year, New Year's resolutions, everybody, I'm resolved, I'm going down, they're serious and they mean it and all. And it's not that they forget, but they do forget. So in other words, they have a state, and that state is, I'm determined, I'm going to do this. 3 weeks into the new year, it's all gone. Mm-hmm. Now, did they forget they wanted to lose weight? No. Their priorities changed and it slipped away. Their behavioural patterns lapsed. So BodySlims is designed to have so many short interactions. And it's good stuff. Like I often say it matters less what I say, but being honest with you, what I say is very well thought out and it's timely. But the idea is it keeps it to the forefront of that person's mind. From my own experience, every morning I get up and I remind myself my primary purpose today is to stay sober. That's it. You've got to keep bringing this stuff to the forefront of your mind. It's all about behaviours and patterns, behaviours and patterns. We need to change the behaviours, the habits, the patterns. I mean, the biggest difference, I suppose, is in BodySlims, and virtually everybody will say this, as amazing as the weight loss will be, I think compared to most, we are, you know, we probably get, let's just call it very, very good results. It'll be the smallest part of it.
Yeah.
What the person gets from working with me will not be as important as who they become from working with me. And that's a very important distinction. Because what I try to do is, I'm no guru, I'm a guide at best. But what I try to do is help people switch on their inner power. Not my inner power. My inner power can be for me to be there and doing my absolute best, and it'll never be less than my best. But it's about getting that switched on for the person. And that's what it's all about. So when the person has done BodySlims, they're able to go, my God, if I could do this in 10 weeks, what could I do within this area or another area if I applied the same sort of criteria? So it's actually learning a new skill-based behaviour.
Yeah, I think for me what really makes, well, there's so much that makes a difference. There's no upselling, there's no sweets, there's no potions or pills that you take, there's no, it's not even about the weight. As Gerard was saying there, you know, it's about the behavioural change. And I think the fact that it's a 10-week, it's very well thought out. Each week is very well planned. So, you know, if you go to another kind of slimming group, you tend to join at whatever week, you know, week X, it doesn't matter, whatever it is. And you're kind of just, you know, you get a little bit of a start thing from a guy, you know, whomever it might be, and but it's not giving you that kind of oomph. Whereas, as I said earlier, like week 1 for me, I was like, get the food away from me, get me out, I want to do this. I know I can do this. I know the first week was still a little bit like, I wasn't as gung-ho as I was by week 4, 5, 6. I was like, no, I have this now. I understand this. This is actually working. That's what's different, is that it's so thought out and so well planned. And the point is to change the behavior. It's not about, I think some people when they come on BodySlims, they get a little bit kind of worried because it's not like your typical weight loss program, in that you're not handed a book and said, eat this. You can eat whatever you want. That's also a beauty of it. You can, like, I as a vegan can eat what I want. Somebody who is a full carnivore can eat what they want. Somebody, you know, like as Gerard was saying, even you could have your 6 pints, but that's not going to leave you nutritionally value, but you could eat that technically. But it's about the behavioral change and understanding how you ended up in this situation and how to undo what you've done, whether it's 10 pounds that you want to lose or 180 pounds. You don't sign up for BodySlims and it works. You have to do the work. You have to listen to those seminars, and that's something that's so important. And it's one thing I will always tell people, is if you do what they tell you to do, or what Gerard tells you to do, when they tell you to do it, you will succeed. That is because I'm living proof of it, my sister's living proof of it, my friends are living proof of it, all the people in the testimonials are. But you don't sign up and then sit back and go, okay, I'm going to lose weight now. You know, it's not a magic button.
No, this is one of the things I often say. This, the entrance fee. Think of a nightclub. It's like the entrance fee, and then if you want to order champagne, so you pay that. That's the money to get you onto the BodySlims course, and after that, the price you pay will never change. The price you pay is the work you're going to put in. There's lots of people will tell you, oh, you can have what you want and you don't have to pay the price. But all they're going to do is take your money from you and not deliver. Because the simple truth is, it's maths. You cannot not honour the maths. You actually have to understand it's going to take a period of time. You're going to have to do it a certain way. It's interesting as well when you talk about even the 10 weeks. 66 days is the length of time it takes the average person to install a new habit. The goal of BodySlims has always been to remove the old habits, but to install a new habit. So if somebody's going away after the 10 weeks, if they followed it right within the 66 days, or you do something for 66 days, it reaches something called the asymptote of automacy, a fancy geometric term to mean it goes on forever. So in other words, in theory, what you've learned, what you've applied, it's not just about learning it, it's about doing it. When you start to do it, it moves to a different part of our mind, and all of a sudden it becomes our new habit, our new pattern. And the idea is people can walk away from BodySlims with these fully installed. So not only do we take out the old ones, but we add in the new ones. Because if all you do is stay away, it's a bit like staying away from a drink. If you stayed away from a drink for 4 days or 5 days, you know, nobody would come to you and go, are you cured? Which is kind of nearly where people get with sort of weight loss, where they're actually starting to try and think, is that, but it's all about all the new habits, the bad habits, because that habit, of course, is going to raise itself again. You find yourself back in a pub, or for the person, you know, they're back in at the fridge. So even if you stay away from it, but when you install a process of new habit patterns that serve somebody, they're far more likely to keep it in the long run.
Yeah. And as I have, because I'm still here.
Yeah.
Well, I reached,
great testament to it. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I reached my goal weight in April of 2021 and had a baby in between, put on some weight as one does when they have a baby, and lost it again, and I've been maintaining now, and I've maintained over Christmas. And you know, like, and just on an aside, I just want to say there's a lot of questions here about maintenance, and I'm going to get onto that in a bit, but maintenance is not a singular number. I think that's something that we really need to take. I think this is the idea of perfectionism, that, you know, you don't get to, for me, my goal weight was 146.6 pounds. That is not a number. I am not expecting to stand on the scales every morning if I was going to and see 146.6. That is not attainable. It's not realistic because my body will change. It'll fluctuate depending on how much water I have and all a myriad of other things. That is just, it's a range. So we want to focus on getting into a range. So I am now in my range that I'm happy with. And for me, it's a 5 pound range. For some people, it might be a 10 pound range, whatever it might be. But we're not looking for that perfection number. So just want to state that as well. Well, I know it's complete aside.
It's one of the reasons that I always talk about in maintenance. I always say, come away from the scales. Weigh once a week if you want. Let your waistline be your guideline. If what you're wearing, it's tertiary. If you have overdone it over Christmas and you go, all my trousers, all my pants or skirts or whatever people wear are, you know, oh, I feel the tightness. If you deal with the problem at source, you go, okay, maybe I've overdone it. I'll just ease back today, tomorrow. By the following day, you're kind of going, oh, I seem to be back where I was. It's like an early warning system. But you're right, there's no number for maintenance. And there's no number even. People always say that, can you tell me the exact number of calories? And you go, no, it's suck it and see, because it depends on you, your level of activity, your age, your body mass. There's so much factored into it, but you can do it. But you can't do it expecting perfection. You can't do it expecting the number to stay the same.
Somebody asked a question, Carla, what was your most memorable non-scale victory while on BodySlims? And actually, I think non-scale victories for me are my favorite. The number on the scales is just a number, but it's the non-scale victories are what that number translates to in your actual life. So for me, I'm now sitting on a high stool with my legs crossed. I was never able to do that before. I'm sitting in a extra small jumper and a size 10 skirt. That's also a non-scale victory. But my biggest non-scale victory of all is my son, Brannock, because I was told prior to losing weight, or my first few weeks, that I was most likely not going to be able to have a child, and I was most likely in perimenopause, and we didn't have to have, thankfully, any interventions to have him, and I had a happy and healthy pregnancy, low risk. So that was something that would not have happened to me had I been 23 stone. So that for me is my number one non-scale victory, is to be, and now to be fit enough to keep up with them, because my God,
that's a challenge.
Yeah, that's two children take a lot of energy. So loose skin from just walking, is it okay to add some squats and arm exercises in to tone?
If you're the weight you want to be, if you have excess skin, you can tone, but you're toning the muscle, you're not toning the skin. Excess skin, unfortunately, can be one of the problems that will go. Depends on the person, it depends on their elasticity of skin. I'm not going to get medical with it, because I'm not medical. So different people will have a different range of elasticity of skin. Depends how far they will get. But telling you the honest truth, if you have, you know, a large amount of skin, working on your muscles is not particularly it's not going to change it drastically. So yeah, look, the skin is a different one, and it's different for different people, and there can be different causes for different people. So it's probably one that's best spoken to a medical practitioner, where they can kind of advise within that. But the honest truth is, you know, if that's what it is, tightening the muscles is not going to make an enormous difference to the problem.
For me, I had 13 stone to lose. So that's a lot of fat gone from my body. And yes, I have tremendous amounts of excess skin. Would you know? Probably not. Does it bother me? Not really. Probably down the line I'll have it removed when I can afford to. But it's not, like, for me as somebody who was, you know, 23 stone, I've always been overweight. So I'm used to my body not being that. So whereas maybe somebody who's lost 2 stone after being, you know, a size 10 their whole life, there might be a little bit of loose skin or something like that. So this is a really good question, and this is something that came up an awful lot. What can you do to start preparing for BodySlims if it's your first time?
I would just say nothing in some way. Like, sometimes people want to start it before it starts. BodySlims, the reason I do it the way I do it is it's a line in the sand. It's not always on. If it was always on, people would come start and go, I could start again, It's not the way it works. It's a line in the sand. It starts on this day. It's very, very clear. It's even, we do it midweek. So, you know, we're immediately breaking the myth. So you have to start a diet on a Monday. So, you know, we're in there and we're challenging. We know what we're doing and it's all done for a reason. But beforehand, what do I want you to do? The real thing is, the biggest barrier I have, you said about it the first night, it clicked for you and you went, I can do this and I will. The testimonials, Carla will be the first one. You can read through all these incredible people, all people just like you. And they'll all tell you their story. Now, every single time you read that, every single time you go and you read all those things, you start to change your own limiting beliefs. Because everybody starts to believe, I can't, they're great. Not me, I failed before, diets don't work for me. So we have to challenge up this thinking. And the other big part of it is, we're going, this will be terrible. Oh, this will be awful. I'll eat nothing. Or I won't like what I'm eating. I'll have to. And we're immediately drawn to all these sort of fears, and these are all fears of pain. So what we got to be able to do is go, no, like let's come away from that. Let's start to actually read this stuff and start to dispel some of these limiting beliefs. And somewhere along the line it clicks for people where they just go, she seemed very similar to me. Similar size, similar age. She said she had 2 kids. She works as an accountant or whatever it is. So do God. And she did it. And if she can, so can I. Because we are more the same than we're different. And for me, so you said to me perfectly, what way do I want people coming on BodySlims? It's like with the bit between their teeth, but having already challenged this limiting belief system of all the reasons you can't. So yeah, that's the best thing I can recommend. There is other stuff we do, the positive whispers, we do other things to people when just before they start to try to help to get them. But that's the most important thing, because that and knowing a line in the sand where you go.
To add to Gerard's, I think the testimonials absolutely
amazing.
They're amazing, and that's where, like, I remember reading through them at the start and going, okay, like if they can, I can too, you know. And there's so many now, there's so many more than when I started as well, and there's so many variations, and people are so kind to share their stories, both on the website, on Facebook, on Instagram. I think as well, for a little bit of advice in like a practical way, in terms of, you know, something to organize your time, is to schedule your time to watch your seminar. That is you have a date every single Wednesday, you know, whether you watch it the Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, maybe depending on what country you're in, but you have to watch that seminar. So if that means getting somebody to take care of your kids, if it means taking the time, you know, when the kids are in bed, if it means, you know, whatever it does, whatever you have to do to organize your time. And yes, our time is precious, but you're worth taking that time to watch it, and you need to watch it with your full intention and attention. So your intention is in order to lose the weight. Your attention, you do not have your phone in your hand, you don't have the kids running around you, the dog isn't trying to, you know, get his food, whatever it might be. It needs to be your full focus, and you do have to watch it for one go, one full burn, no distractions. And you can listen to it again on your walk or anything like that, but you have to get that into you. And that is, otherwise there's no point in doing BodySlims. Otherwise it's just, you know, it's not even like any other.
It's such a good way that you've put that, you know, your intention and your attention.
And that's something a lot of people asked, who've done their first round of BodySlims and they're coming back, or they're wanting to come back and they're not sure if it changes. And a lot of people are, I think there's a, you know, like, oh, is it going to be just the same thing over and over again? And you do get a lot of extras for the second time that you come back. You get access to the sway stretching with Sharon and the sweat stretching with Sharon. You get the exercises that you can do with the guys.
The positive whispers.
The confidence whispers. And then I have, you know, like my videos, the ones in Carla's Corner, there's this different one for people who are coming back and people who are their first time. The core content doesn't change, but I have watched in weight loss Gerard say those words 5 times, and every single time I have heard something and it's landed somewhere different, because I'm a different person when I'm watching it. And then the first time that I came back, I was quite arrogant. I was quite, you know, like, I know this, like, I don't need to listen to this. And I didn't get the results that I wanted after week 1 or 2. And I was like, okay, maybe I need to just put a little bit more effort in. And listening to him speak again with a different perspective in the world, with different colored glasses on for whatever point I was in my journey, and something else will hit differently and you'll be really surprised. So if you're coming back, yes, the core content is the same. You do get extras, but you never know what you'll hear that time that might change everything. And it was in my last time, my postpartum weight loss, Gerard talked about his version of super bad, which was not getting vomit on his trousers when he from an alcoholic.
From splashback when I was vomiting, yeah.
Yeah, and mine was that I didn't cough up blood when I was bulimic. And that, that was like for me to go, my God, I have changed everything. And that brought me to tears that time, because I was like, how far I had come in my life to go, okay, I was that bad. That was my version of that. And now look at me now, you know, and it's amazing what you can do and what will hit differently when you're a different person. So don't discount it just because the core course content is the same, and he does re-record it every time as well, you know, so there might be a little bit of an extra anecdote.
I mean, look, there's a very old saying, and it's a wonderful saying: when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
How do I stop the self-sabotage by thinking I need to do everything perfect and feeling like I can't get one day right?
Okay, that's a very difficult question to answer, because the reason for self-sabotage is myriad. I mean, it'll all come back to the same basic sort of stuff, but it can change. How can I do it? It's really simple. There's a really, really simple answer, regardless of what your problem. I don't care what you drank, talking of drink. I don't care what happened to you in your life. It's irrelevant at this point. If you're drinking and your drinking is out of control and making you feel bad, the first thing you need to do is stop drinking for a day. And exactly the same with this. You may not think you can do one day right, but the important thing is to get one day right. Every single person can do this. There is not one person out there, because we know if you lock somebody in a prison cell, could they do it? Not only could they do it, they would do it. So what's in the middle? What's in the middle is them, their behavioural patterns and how they think. Build yourself up. Start getting some wins. Start doing it right. Because quite often there's a world of pain. I'm not dismissing it. What I'm saying is it's not applicable at the start. Get where you want. I've seen more people lose their sobriety trying to work out why they started drinking. It's more important to actually get off the drink and reach a point where you've changed things, and then by all means go back and look. And there may be a world of professional work for you there, but the most important thing is you've got to start getting the first bit right before you start figuring out all this other stuff. And I'm not saying it's not worth figuring out. I'm saying you won't be able to figure it out until you get yourself to a better place.
When you start to see a change as well, your brain starts to freak out because it's something different. It's something that you're not used to, and you're like, what is, you know, what's happening? And you see comfort, and the comfort that I knew was food. So, you know, I'd lose 10 pounds and then be like, oh, this is a bit strange, I don't like it, and I'd go back. But it's just sitting with that discomfort as well for a little bit of time, you know, because it's only discomfort, you're not going to die from it. You know, it's like, it's only a little bit uncomfortable. And when you learn to live with that, that becomes your new normal. And then your new normal kind of continues and leads you through to where you can kind of start to delve then further. Well, Gerard, I think we've answered... Well, we could answer.
We've answered a few.
We've answered a few questions. Guys, if you've made it to the end of the video, please leave me a purple heart down in the comments. And if you're interested in learning more about BodySlims, I will leave, as I said, I'll leave actually my video about BodySlims up in the corner. This corner, I think. And then that's the one I did about how I lost 183 pounds, but I'll also leave the website and links to BodySlims down in the description box down below. And Gerard, thank you so much for joining me.
Carla, thank you so much for the privilege, the effort, and thanks for everything you do for us as a brand ambassador. You do an amazing job, and it's a wonderful thing, you know, being able to take something negative in your life, that you paid a huge price for, and those around you will have paid a huge price for. It's very, very hard to ever think of being able to not only not have that as a negative, but be able to turn it to a positive and be able to help others. And I think it's incredible. It's a great credit to you that, you know, you've been able to take something which was such a challenge and being able to not only get to the other side of the challenge and get to the other place, but be able to be inspiring. So taking something negative, going, I was you, I mean now, you can be like me. It's phenomenal. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks guys, and we'll see you soon.
Bye bye guys. Thanks a lot for listening.